right, hi guys.
What's up?
Antoine and I were talking, and basically, there have been times where we've been in situations where God has asked us to do something, and we may be reluctant to move forward on it. I know that's happened to me. That happens to me quite too often. But I know I hear other people, dealing with the same thing. And what we were talking about it, and what we realized is that it has a lot to do with us wanting to control the outcome.
Absolutely.
We have expectations where we're expecting certain things to happen or to not happen if we move forward with what we were just asked to do. And we realize that, that's the problem. Like, we need to let go and let God, basically. If we believe God has called us or is asking us to do something, to step up and speak to somebody, or to witness to them, or to encourage someone, or just anything that God asks us to do, we need to just kind of let go of the things that are holding us, like the fear that might be there.
Absolutely.
And trust God. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I fully agree. I think that our need to control, or our need to have expectations on things. First of all, I think expectations are very much so overrated. Mm-hmm. And I think when we put expectations on different outcomes, it fuels our need to control the situation. And the truth of the matter is, only one person can be in control. So either Jesus is going to be in control or you're going to be in control. You have to make a decision on who's going to be in control. And in order for Jesus to be in control, there has to be full surrender on our part. And that's even the outcomes of our situations. And so, babe, you was talking about, like, you have something very important to tell your spouse. And you don't want to say it, maybe because you don't want to come across as a nagger. You're already thinking about how the other person is going to react, and that's totally not your responsibility. That's God's responsibility. God only called you to be the sower, not the person that brings the harvest. That's his job. He does all the heavy lifting. And that's why I think in a lot of situations where God has asked us to do something, or we're prompted to do something, that we're reluctant, like you said, or maybe we just don't do it at all because we're so fear-gripped with what the outcome is going to be. We don't even move on it. And no, go ahead.
Well, fear, if we're operating in fear, we know we're not operating in faith. We just can't
Absolutely. You cannot, fear and faith cannot occupy the same heart.
Right.
If you're not in faith, you are in fear. If you're not in fear, you're hopefully in faith. And so faith would say that, God, you've prompted me to do this. I'm going to be obedient in doing this.
What I believe I heard.
Because absolutely. Yeah. Because my obedience is not about what I can produce. It's about furthering my relationship with you.
Yes.
God is not after what we can produce. That's the icing on the cake. Yeah. The real ingredients to the cake is growing and expanding our relationship with him. Yeah. And so our obedience shows that we want more of God. Our obedience shows that we want less of us in charge and more of God's influence in our lives. And so we just was talking about it, and we wanted to encourage people that if you're fearful of going to your boss about an issue, or your spouse, or someone else you're in covenant relationship with, or maybe it's just something more practical, or in addition to that of, hey, you know what? Man, God has really called me to witness to people, but I don't know how people are going to react when I bring up the name Jesus. Their body language doesn't really invite me in, or whatever. That's not your responsibility. Paul says that I sow, Apollos water, but what? God made the increase. That is God's responsibility. That's why Paul was such a great sower, because he understood that there was great peace and great rest in allowing God to be himself in our outcomes.
Amen.
So, yeah, we just...
Let go, let God.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just be encouraged that you don't have to be in control of the outcome.
And don't let your feelings dictate whether you move forward or not.
Yes, because them jokers change all the time. But guess what does not change? Your faith.
Amen.
And so stand on that.
Amen.
Peace. We going to the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
I'm splicing that out.
So, boy, I had me a good time in the bathroom.
Oh.
But I wanted to clarify something that I said before about not being responsible for how a person is going to react. And I don't want that to come across as black and white. You do have some responsibility on how you communicate things to people. Jesus says, tell the truth wrapped in love. And so the timing of how you say things, the temperament and how you say things, and the tone and how you say things is paramount if you want the person to receive what you are saying. And so please make no mistake about it. The harvest and how God will deal with that person and what you said will also be predicated on how you give it. You want to give it right so that they can receive it right. So I wanted to make that slight clarification, is that we're not cold and we don't, we care about how people are going to receive what we are saying. However, caring about how people are going to receive what we are saying is not the determining factor on whether we are going to say it or not. And so that was it. I just wanted to clarify that use wisdom in how you communicate it, but don't let how you communicate it determine whether or not you're going to communicate it.
Hope you got it.
That's it, folks.
All right.
Peace out on the food, dog. We rolling, baby.